Hello, my name is Joe Pace, and I am a Gulf War veteran. I was in the first Gulf War 20 years ago, and I was a POW for a brief period of time. I've been in Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Iran. I've been around the world 4 times, and I'm now here back home in Santa Cruz, California, which is where I was born, and it's my favorite place to be. I recently spoke to a group of high school kids and told about my experiences in the Gulf War. And I told them it was 130 degrees when I was there. And they said, no way, it couldn't have been 130 degrees. But one of the girls stood up and said she was from Saudi Arabia. And I asked her, how hot was it? And she said it was 136 last year. So, my experiences really began with the fact that I have 3 kids and 2 grandchildren. And trying to explain to them that I was going to the Gulf War was hard for them to understand. And 4 years later, when I came back, my kids were 5, 6 years old, and they asked me, who am I? And I told them, I'm your father. And they were kind of amazed that I was back in one piece. So I made it through the Gulf War, and one of the things that stuck with me was the fear that I experienced when I first went overseas. I was terrified, and I realized that I didn't really know what I was doing, and I kept questioning, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And I asked my commander, I said, is there any way I can get out of this? And he just kind of laughed and said, no, you're at the point of no return. So I basically decided that I was going to do this, and I was in combat. And at one point in Saudi Arabia, we came under attack of a Scud missile, and the missile was coming at us, and we were all about to die in about 3 seconds. And again, I asked my commander, I said, is there any way we can get on the truck and get out of here? And he said, no, there's not enough room for all of us. So we all saluted each other. We're all about to die in about 5 seconds. And they shot down that missile right before it got to us. So it was a huge explosion in the air. It was just incredible. We all had blood coming out of our ears. And for me, at that moment, the war was over. I knew I couldn't do it anymore. I knew it didn't make sense to me anymore. And just the fact of taking more powerful weapons and pointing them closer to each other didn't make sense to me anymore. And here I was in a command position. I was an officer. I told people what to do. Here I was in the command center. I was barking orders left and right, telling them, get the radars up now. And I would tell them, now. And everybody would jump. So that was part of my experience of being in a command position. And now I suffer from PTSD rather severely, 100%. I've taken anger management for a whole year. And basically what I've learned is that when you're experiencing anger, it's very passive. It just lasts a few seconds and then it goes away. But when it stays on, it becomes rage. That's an ongoing thing, which is like a whole nother dimension. So I've gotten a handle on my anger, and I've gotten a grip on the PTSD, but I still realize that I'm still just scratching the surface. And one of the things that has helped me tremendously is the services at MHCAN, which brings me back to the last part of my story. Here I'm back in America, I'm back in the U.S., and it's quite a culture shock going from the desert, from a combat situation, to Santa Cruz, California. You know, you've got grass and green trees, you know, you've got plenty of food. I mean, it's like air conditioning everywhere. I mean, it's wonderful here. And I really appreciate being able to be here, being able to tell my story, and just the fact of getting the story out of the truth of what happened to me over there. And I begin to realize now that I didn't really know why I had done it. But now I begin to realize that it was because of oil. And Afghanistan, 80% of the world's drug supply. These are issues that just have not been able to come out. And I think it's important that they do come out. And I think it's important that we're able to tell our story. And just telling the story helps relieve part of the stress, because then it's not part of your subconscious. Okay? And that's where the post-traumatic stress comes in, because we jam it into our subconscious. We don't think about it, but it's always back there. But again, when you're in a combat situation, you don't have time to be scared. You don't have time to think about these things. All you can think about is right now. So all these thoughts are put back. And here I am. I'm sweating. I'm hot. You know, I'm thinking I'm 130 degrees. But again, it's just it's psychological. And again, I appreciate everything that MHCAN has done for me. The services have been fantastic, and it's helped me tremendously. I want to thank one more time MHCAN, Sarah Leonard, and everyone else that's helped me here at MHCAN. Thank you.